How's it going, everyone? The Trout 91 here. Welcome to this video. Thank you for taking your time after watching the gun in 60 seconds video to come over to this gameplay. Maybe you're just coming over to this gameplay anyway without watching the gun in 60 seconds video, but if you've watched either of them, thank you very much for the time you've given up. So we're going to look a bit more at the grease gun, some of my thoughts and feelings about it, what things work well with it, some other alternative attachments and basic training perks to pick up for it if you're not quite enjoying my suggested class. So the grease gun, obviously being an automatic submachine gun, has really high damage, low rate of fire, moderate recoil. It has okay iron sights. I wouldn't say it performs amazingly on a bad connection as well, but when you do get a good connection, it is an absolute machine. Great versatile weapon in general. It really does excel at those medium ranges to long range for a submachine gun, at least, just because of its high damage, the fact that it doesn't really have a huge amount of recoil. The iron sights are okay, but I wouldn't really recommend them on bad connections at a long distance. But it's that low rate of fire that kind of keeps it in a position where you can have those long-range gunfights and compete with some of the rifles and things that might actually cause you trouble at those ranges. So it does have that versatility. Of course, it is pretty decent up close and personal, but for a submachine gun, that's kind of what you use it for, is for up close and personal with people. And I would actually say that's where it's weakest, is because of that low rate of fire. You do get those moments where you can put down players very quickly, but because of that low rate of fire, which is something that you don't really associate with submachine guns, it can be let down sometimes. Which is why I generally try and endorse the rapid fire attachment for this gun, because you increase that rate of fire and the lethality of it at close range, which is probably where you're going to have more gunfights with this weapon. It's just the fact that it is so versatile and does have those qualities at range that makes it good as an all-around weapon. But I wouldn't say it's one of the best. It certainly has had a downgrade compared to the beta, where I thought it was actually one of the best guns in the game, and I absolutely loved it. Let's move on to the attachments very quickly. Now, the lens sight is really an attachment that I've grown to love on this gun. The iron sights, as I said, are okay, but if you are fighting people at distance, or if you're on a bit of a dodgy connection, it can be a little hard to kind of line up and get the correct shot off. And the lens sight basically creates this almost the same as the iron sights, but has very thin lines and opens up the general area at which you're aiming, making your shots at range a little bit more accurate. And I think the recoil does tend to be a bit more controllable at those long ranges as well. If you are talking super far range, you might struggle a very tiny bit, but either way, I think it's a very solid attachment to have on if you're someone who isn't really coping well with the iron sights. Quick Draw is a really good attachment for it, but I don't think it's necessarily needed. If you are playing with like the Infantry division, I don't think you're going to need it. If you are looking for those long-range gunfights, I don't think you're going to need it. And with its hip fire spread and rapid fire, again, I think at close ranges where you are going to get the most benefit from Quick Draw, I don't think you necessarily need it. But if it's something that you like to do just because of, I don't know, it's just something you're comfortable with, you can't really explain why it works, it just works for you, then that's fair enough. It's not really going to harm you. Reflex sight, again, I don't think this is actually as good of an attachment. You'd probably say you'd pick the reflex over the lens sight 9 times out of 10, but for me, I feel like the recoil definitely increases on this gun when I use the reflex sight. It just seems a little bit harder to control my shots when I am using that attachment, which is why I picked the lens sight. Grip obviously reduces recoil, great attachment to have on there. I wouldn't say it's a necessity all the time, because if you are getting that close to people, you probably don't need the grip. I'm using it for those medium to long range gunfights where it's going to give me a bit more accuracy. Steady aim is probably useful, again, if you don't want to put Quick Draw on it. You can get major use out of that rapid fire steady aim combination, just hip firing people who are getting right up in your face. FMJ I wouldn't say is particularly beneficial. If you are getting close enough to them, you probably won't need the FMJ at all. And if you're fighting people who are on head-high cover, I don't think you're really using the gun to its best of abilities, or you could definitely try and approach that gunfight from a different angle. Now, advanced rifling, I didn't find a huge amount of benefit from it. I think overall it would have been a beneficial attachment. It's just the fact that if I was fighting them at a distance where advanced rifling made a difference, I was probably not really using this gun or playing a particularly smart way. which is why I didn't really feel like you needed it. And I think the damage on it is pretty good as it is already, and I think rapid fire as well is just as good without having to use advanced rifling. Extended mags I wouldn't say is really necessary. I think you get plenty of ammo in the actual magazines as it is. I also would say that if you use a basic training like Hustle, you don't really need extended mags. Rapid fire, just great overall. Increases that rate of fire dramatically. Great for up close, even at long range distances. I don't think it really increases the recoil too much that you're going to have to worry about having it become very uncontrollable, which is why I suggested it, and the fact that this gun is so versatile in that sense. As far as basic trainings go, Hustle, great at keeping you on the move and keeps your fire rate up. You can find that when your bullets do deplete from you, you can quickly switch, well, get a reload off, and with rapid fire, obviously eating up ammo very quickly, you can find that will happen very regularly. Espionage is a decent basic training to have. If you're struggling at those long ranges, you can put a few shots into people, follow up, and help your teammates get a little bit of an idea for where other people are. Gunslinger, if you're not really looking to use quick draw, you want to decrease the amount of attachments you've got. Obviously, you can use that whilst running around to shoot people and not have to worry about aiming in, because as you're sprinting, you can also fire your gun at the same time. And Prime's a good one if you're looking for maybe an extra attachment on top of that, or maybe you don't want to use the infantry division. You can actually use the airborne edition if you want to run really fast. Can use primed instead, which gives you that extra attachment and gives you less flinch, which is probably good for those medium to long range gunfights, and will give you a little bit more consistency there. And as I said, my favorite division for this class is probably the infantry. Just the fact that you will get the additional primary attachment, the extra magazines, because your ammo probably will be eaten up fairly quickly, and the fact you can move significantly faster while aiming down sights. You will become such a strafe machine, people will not be able to handle you. I would say the airborne is obviously a very good class. I think the SMG suppressor is probably very good on this gun. When you do have those good connections and you do have rapid fire on it, I think you're going to find it benefits you very heavily, especially if you're trying to do a lot of flanking. Obviously, mountain might be a good one just to make sure that you are silent and you are off the recon aircraft if you're trying to get in behind people. Definitely worth picking that one up as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do drop a like rating if you did. Make sure you check out the Gun in 60 Seconds video, the main one, if you haven't done already. And subscribe if you want more of these kind of videos. And I'll see you very soon. Peace out.